It wasn't the dance that hurt. It was realizing I had been invisible while standing right there.
I never thought dancing like that would matter, especially at a wedding. You know how it is, the music is loud, everyone's laughing, and the boundaries just seem to get a little blurry. You laughed so easily when you leaned in closer, and I saw your eyes scan the room before they landed back on mine. It was all supposed to be harmless. Just a moment of attention, nothing serious, nothing that was supposed to follow us home. But harmless moments don't leave people staring. Harmless moments don't make your partner feel like a stranger standing right next to you. I tried to tell myself you were just being dramatic, because admitting the truth would mean admitting that I had crossed a line. But you were the one who crossed it. You crossed it the moment you forgot who was waiting for you, all because you were enjoying being noticed by someone else. I remember thinking you'll just brush this off later. You'll say it meant nothing, just like you always do. But this time, I couldn't brush it off. Something inside me finally refused to stay quiet. You just kept smiling, completely unaware that every single laugh was adding more weight to what was about to happen. I noticed how you never once looked back to check if I was still there, and I was. I was there, watching the distance between us grow while the music just kept playing. I started to wonder, when did being patient turn into being invisible? Later, you said it was just fun, that everyone flirts a little at weddings. But fun doesn't humiliate the person who chose you, especially not in front of a room full of witnesses. You asked me why I was being so quiet instead of asking yourself why you felt so bold. I stayed quiet because I needed to be absolutely sure of what I was seeing. And what you saw was a reaction you never expected. You expected silence. You expected forgiveness, just like all the other times, but this time I chose clarity over comfort. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't pull you away in some dramatic scene. I just waited. I waited until everyone in the room was listening, without even realizing why. You felt it, didn't you? You felt the moment the atmosphere shifted, when the laughter started to fade. You whispered for me to stop, to talk about it later, anywhere but there. But later would have just meant pretending all over again. I spoke calmly, because the truth carries more weight in a calm voice than it ever could in anger. I didn't need to explain everything. I just said enough for people to understand. And then I saw your face change. You realized the attention had turned, and now it was on you. You felt exposed, the same way I had felt just moments before. You called it revenge, but it wasn't. It was just honesty, delayed for far too long. I didn't insult you or embarrass you with secrets. I simply stopped protecting the image you had built at my expense. The silence that followed was heavier than any shouting match could ever be. You asked if this was going to ruin everything. But everything had already changed, long before that dance even began. I saw the realization slowly settle in as people started to look away. They weren't judging you as much as they were finally understanding me. You followed me outside, asking why I would do this now, of all times. Because now was the first moment I felt seen without having to beg for it. You said you were sorry, that you never meant to hurt me. But meaning nothing doesn't undo a pattern that's been repeated over and over. You asked if we could just forget it and enjoy the rest of the night. But forgetting is exactly what allowed this to happen again and again. I told you we would talk later, but we weren't going to erase what happened. You said you felt small and ashamed. That feeling was familiar to me. I didn't enjoy seeing you like that, but I needed you to finally understand. And sometimes understanding doesn't arrive gently. The ride home was quiet, but it was a different kind of quiet. It felt final. You stared out the window, replaying the night in your head. I stared straight ahead, realizing that something had permanently shifted between us. You asked if I still loved you. I said that love can't survive without respect. You started crying softly, saying you didn't know how it all went so wrong. It went wrong slowly, quietly, while no one was speaking up. You said you felt punished. I told you I felt free for the first time in a very long while. And freedom doesn't always look kind in the moment it arrives. You asked if this meant it was the end. I said it meant the end of pretending. Then you asked what happens next. I said that depends on whether the change that's coming is real or if it's just fear talking. You went quiet then, really quiet, but that silence felt different from all the others. It felt like you were actually listening, not just waiting for your turn to speak. I didn't know if it was too late for us, but I knew it was necessary. That night didn't end our story. It just rewrote the balance of power within it. Whether we decide to rebuild or to walk away, nothing will ever be the same again, and that truth was worth every single uncomfortable second. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more.